setting up some levels here, but good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. This is the overnight high. Previous session high was in here, which we are sitting kind of just above. Just for my sanity, I'm going to just make these complete lines here. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Alrighty. Sitting a touch below VWAP, we do have some information for this morning. Durable goods came in a bit hot at 1.4 as opposed to 0.7, and previously it was at negative 0.69. So we are looking at this to be a bit just showing strength still in the market after yesterday's read of a bit soft on certain things that might have driven the market up. This kind of in normal normal states that would put the market to the high side. However, with the interest rate cuts looming, good news is bad news is good news kind of deal. And this isn't anything that's going to be crazy that it's going to really manipulate anything, but just some information to keep in mind. Keep those fundamentals in the back of your head. You got home prices in line. You got year over year at 0.1% more than anticipated, but it is still going up as opposed to the previous month, which was 6.2. We're now at 6.6. And then what we're going to get at 9 o'clock is consumers' confidence, which is basically just showing strength in the market. So more strength. Buyers, consumers are working on it. So we are going to be trying to trade on this account here, the Top Step X. We're going to look to see if we can't get ourselves funded this week on a couple accounts and then continue to move forward on that. So that's where we're at with this. But I am charting up on my AMP account. I do have a lot more information on here that I do gather that's a little bit more important to me. And then also I do use the TradingView to give myself a bit more clean charting on some of these. So really I'm watching this for a break as well to the downside, but we are kind of in between zones that I have for now. So really it's going to be a wait and see what this market does on this open right now that we just hit. So we got S&P's trying to push below that 5287 level, 5289, 5287. We got Russell right above that 2109 level that we were talking about yesterday. So everything's kind of sitting on top of these zones here. So we're going to just, like I said, be patient. We're going to wait, let this market tell us the direction. We have the overnight here just above, overnight high here above right there. This down here is the overnight low. So it's kind of a tight overnight range, right? We stayed pretty much in here this entire all night, but slow grind to the high side. Right now we're sitting below the VWAP that is anchored to midnight, right? To this day open. So let's just, is it midnight? No, it's 5 o'clock. yesterday. So once this trading session opened, that's where this VWAP is anchored to. So we're going to just keep that in the back of our head. We are below the daily VWAP here, but literally right dead center between the overnight high, the overnight low, and sitting just below previous day highs. So that's where we're at with this. Put my news on. I hope everybody had a good day yesterday. Looking to kind of capitalize on that again today. You're seeing price trying to wick the bottom there. I'm going to go with the 1 minute chart again. This is where I get my divergences. Our opening range here for the 1 minute is about 76 ticks. So it's a pretty consistent day after day, 70 some odd ticks on the opening range. Let's check some of these Mag 7 names, see if we got any sort of information coming in that could help us out here with what's going on with these trades. We do have interest at 18,588.50. 18,588.50 is right here. It is the base of this consolidation, right? We had all this consolidation overnight up here, but that 88.50 level is right there. So that's interesting to note. So let's see some of these Mag 7 names. We're going to go with Microsoft first. Look at that. Microsoft gave you that initial push up and now is pumping to the downside, trying to crack that bottom. And you can see NQ looking to see if it could crack the bottom of this little trend line here. We're going to see if we could hold below this and rotate back down through into 31.75, which was a really important level yesterday. We played pretty much around that level the entire day, and it may get drawn to that again. Apple looking to rotate down to below 169, 169.93. Do we get lower than 168.98 today? That's a good question. Nvidia sitting above that liquidity zone there, but yesterday we were looking at trying to hit off on that 973 high there. If we do get above that 973, I think 1,000 is in the cards for Nvidia for this week. Breaking yesterday's high would be 967.71. We are in this liquidity zone here. It kind of danced around it a bunch, but now we flushed down into it and now looking to possibly pop above and push to the high side. We'll see what happens on AMD. AMD's rolling over. SMCI is pushing up high side. We'll see. Nvidia now. I mean, NQ pushing up into that 88.50 level. That base of the consolidation is a little bit higher than at 88.50, but for me that 88.50 level is important. It's the initial pop off right there, and that was our initial rejection point. Then it acted as resistance, support, resistance, right? This level has acted pretty important, so we are going to be monitoring the 88.50 zone to see if we're going to break above, hold, and then bounce and rotate up to that 18,687. So bullish above 88.50, rejection bearish below and down through the trend line. If we can get some sort of consolidation below here or a breakout failure and rotate back down, then that would be something I would be interested. AMD now rotating higher. Nvidia popping up to the high, so possibly looking to see if Nvidia breaks yesterday's high, like I said, 967.61, that level right there. Then we rotate through 973, and 1,000 is in the cards for Nvidia at some point soon with their what they got going on with their bullish environment right now. The S&Ps are slightly different. They're slightly diverged. They look like they want to go downside at the moment. They're trying to hold below 52.89. It is dead center, like I said. It's above VWAP, dead center between opening overnight high, overnight low. But the only thing that I am interested in is that 88.50, that 900 level. Really, I mean to the 88.50 to the 600 level. Um, Seeing what kind of resistance happens there. Bullish above it. If it's going to hold, rotate to the overnight high, come back. We're going to watch and see if we can get some sort of divergence at the overnight high, rotate the overnight high back down to the lows, at least into VWAP. Rolling one contract into VWAP is 850. So we are going to look to go short two contracts if that's the case from the overnight high, which is right here. If we end up getting below this level here, this opening range low, and holding below here, could rotate, like I said, back down at least into that 490 level there. Kind of close that little bit of a gap on the, well, not really a gap, but that bullish momentum on the open from yesterday. Being mindful, it's kind of just sitting here, right? We haven't really gone anywhere on this 5 minute. We opened up, popped up right into that 88.50 level, 94 or 50, and now we're just sitting right just below it. Nvidia trying to fail that break above 960. It pushed up above the pre-market high, and now is rotating downside, but right into that liquidity zone that I'm looking at there. So we're just paying attention, making sure we can just execute at a good level. SMCI rotating downside. My gosh. SMCI rolling some, huh? Holding that previous day's high. Very interesting because Russell and S&P both kind of ticking downside some, pushing into the resistance. SMCI pushing down below opening range. Pre-market low there. AMD kind of rotating down. I'm just watching some of the other chip names to see what kind of move NVIDIA may decide to take, although it is the leader. Tesla, absolutely rocketing up. Maybe that's kind of holding up the NQ a touch. We're looking at this. Apple still trying to hold that 169 level, right at that 170.30. Microsoft closed that over that pre-market gap there. Closed it up. Now it's looking to potentially either rotate down to that overnight low, yesterday's close, and then see what happens from there, because Microsoft kind of just middle of the range here. I want to see we got to roll from there. It's got to get through this. You can see the S&Ps are, let me go over here to this. Go to the S&Ps. The Microsoft's starting to roll. You see this level of support there, 52.87. Tried to touch through it. If it does crack this level, I anticipate some rotation back down to lows. I don't like when I have some of these here. Back down to the low of likely the first target would be right there at 52.83. That's going to be the first really area of where I'm going to be interested in it being some resistance, 52.81 to 83 level right there. If that does crack and hold, then this NQ should start to rotate down. So any sort of break of this little trend line here could give us an entry for a short. So we're going to start to look for a short. We are below VWAP. We're into that opening range. I do want to see the bottom end of this crack. Oh, I don't like to get snapped like that. I want to get maybe the bottom of this to crack, get down to 31, and then see if we can rotate through. I did mention that 84 to 90, 600 level right there where we bounced up into could be a good short opportunity, but I wanted to see the overnight high get tagged, which we didn't quite get there. But you can see that's one of my major key levels. We held above it in the overnight pre-market session. I want to see the bottom of this trend line crack. The S&Ps are trying to hold this level here, but if it can't hold it, like I said, that 83 to 82 level right here, that's a zone that I'm going to be interested in for it to possibly bounce from. And if not, crack. So that's what I'm looking for the S&P. NQ, I want to see this thing break down. If it could break down, then we're going to just hold it. I'm just moving stuff around. See where right here on the entry into the opening range high right there. So I need to see if it's going to accept back into the opening range, get back to this low, if it's going to break the low, or if it's going to hold. NQ is diverging from the other names, right? The S&P is pushing down a little further, already at the bottom end of the opening range. The NASDAQ's still holding above this trend line here, and it's probably because of names like Apple catching a little bit of a bounce, but nothing really good there. It's still kind of just like in a wedging pattern. Same thing like it did yesterday, but yesterday it did something like this, and then it rallied up in. So let's watch that. NVIDIA trying to wick the bottom there, 953. I think it does have down into that, at least pre-market low, overnight low, post-market low, whatever this is, 948. But this liquidity zone here could act as flush, bounce, sell, but S&Ps now all bouncing from this level here. So it's wicked it twice, and now it's bouncing. Let's see if SMCI is going to hold lows or if it's going to bounce from here, because SMCI is really leading the Soxhel sector. Here's the Soxhel. This is the semiconductors, all the chip names kind of in one basket. So this name, we did kind of just gap right into some resistance from yesterday's high and previous day's high. So there is a chance that if we do crack lower on this Soxhel, then it's going to go lower. But we are starting to push up again. NVIDIA starting to push up again. Right back into that level there again, right? That 90, that 600. Kind of want to just, like I said, at the overnight high is right here. I could see that 620 level kind of get tagged and then rotate down, but we've returned here for a second time and having a hard time getting through it. S&Ps is also rotating downside. NVIDIA is starting to rotate downside. I think this is a good area to potentially look to start seeing some short information start to pour in. You do have delta divergence there, so we do have an idea where there's let me just refresh this, see if the tilt will refresh, because I don't think it's 100% long. I think my tilt got a little tricky. 65% long there. I'm going to try it with one contract if we get back to it. I'll start it here. One contract here. A break above there will be stopped out. We're going to start short one here. Just see if we can get front run at a touch on the rejection of that 84 level that I was talking about, based on the S&Ps kind of ticking down a little bit. If we get stopped out, we get stopped out. That's fine. It's just one contract, just trying to take a little bit of a chance at our 8850 level, 89, 90, 900, 600 levels right there. But with NVIDIA kind of just holding below here, I was kind of interested in that being the case where it would kind of drop back down. But right now it's kind of holding up a little stronger than I anticipated there. We'll see if it'll roll. Need it to roll from here. You can see right there, delta divergence, sort of a double top. I know we're just above VWAP, but right there, just above VWAP. Now we're starting to get a little bit of a sell side move. I would like to add one below the low here of this. If we can get down here, I would stop sell in again here below 60. And if we get to that target, then we would probably hit off on that $1,500 daily target. But this is just anticipatory. We'll see what happens with it. Still flirting with our entry price here. NVIDIA still trying to tick down. Let's see what Microsoft's doing. Microsoft pushing downside. Apple popped. So that's holding us up a touch. NVIDIA, that's our name though right there. That's going to kind of keep us involved in this trade. We're still floating okay. We're in okay shape here. I think if we push down into this zone, if we crack below this wick here, we should just flush right down to that 31 level. We're just going to watch it, see what happens. Like I said, we're up a smidge. We're risking just shy of 300 on this trade to try and make a little $1,500 move. Trying to just be a one and done kind of day. If it does want to play, it'll play soon. S&P is now starting to tick down to the lower end of the opening range. So I think that the NQs can follow as long as NVIDIA just keeps pushing lower. What does SMCI look like? SMCI is ticking lower a little bit. AMD pushing lows, but wick the low. Apple wicking the high. Microsoft pushing downside. So NVIDIA does have that weakness there. So let's see if it'll roll. Let's see if it'll roll. We are waiting patiently for this to try and do its thing. Rejected our 94, 80, 8850 level there. Right, this level right here, that's what I was eyeballing, that 8850 level. That's where I was looking for some major resistance. See if we could get that rotation back down through 18560. NVIDIA is helping us out here with a little bit of a sell side move. So we're going to be all right if we can get through VWAP right here. Sitting right on top of it. If you get a good hard flush, we should be all right. Come on now. Give me that sell side move one time. It's not flushing like I would expect. We do have that delta divergence, but we are starting to see delta tick up a touch here. It's starting to build. If I see this start to build a little bit more, I probably might look. Well, I'm just going to leave my risk where it is. If I get out at 285, it's fine. And then I'm going to reconvene at that overnight high and see if I can get that rising wedge pattern. But I do believe that right now we are starting to see continuation to the downside. I think that's where we're continuing. That's why we took that shot at that short right there at our key level, because it was at a level. We started to get the delta divergence. You got to just let your setup play out, and if it's going to do it, it's going to do it. If not, you just accept your risk and you move on. Looks like S&P's starting to roll. NVIDIA's starting to push again to the downside. Let's see if Apple will roll over. Apple ticking higher, sort of holding us up here. Microsoft, NVDA, yeah, pushing downside. I think we still are okay. But the only thing here is this VWAP that's kind of holding us up right there. Right on top. We're sitting right on top of the VWAP. That's why my one issue with taking an entry right around VWAP. I'm going to look to see if that'll take us short. I'm going to look at that. I'm still pushing downside a little bit. There we go. We're starting to break the VWAP. Starting to accelerate a little bit downside. Like I said, I want to add to this below this low here, below 60. Once we get to a 1-to-1 on the risk, we'll look to see if we can get to rotate all the way down through the low. S&P is now ticking lower, pushing downside some. Look at this NVIDIA, really nice. It's very helpful for us today. That's all I need, NVIDIA to just help me to the downside. If we could start to get some sell side pressure here, we could really get involved with a nice little short here. Like I said, I'm not looking for a huge move. The overnight low is right there at 517, but 531 is that bottom end of the VWAP. That's one standard deviation away to the VWAP. So if we can get and hold below VWAP, get down below here, we should be able to tag off on our profit target. But now you can start to see some of this pressure pushing back up. This is usually why I like to wait for a little bit higher of a level to short overnight high. But the other indexes are pushing downside some. So the NQ, the only thing really holding it up is Apple, I think, right now, which is wicking its high. Microsoft catching a little bit of a bottom, wicking bottom there. You could see that, but NVIDIA is still pushing lower. So I'm going to be a little patient with this. Let it do its thing. Like I mentioned, if I get stopped out above that level, it is okay because that's kind of just where I anticipated being wrong. It's not an oversized risk. It's only 285 to make 1,500. That's a good risk to reward, right? It's a cheap trade idea at a key level that I've had for more than just the overnight session, right? My only issue is that overnight didn't really get cleaned up. And Tesla is also running, so that is kind of holding us up as well. But if everything else is starting to fall over, look at NVIDIA go to the downside. Look at NVIDIA go. Come on now. Help us out. Start being paired with NVIDIA once again. Everything else will start going. Yes. Just want to see a bunch of red across the board. There we go. Pushing that low. If we could crack the low of this wick here, I'm going to move to break even on this. I don't want to get caught up in a bounce off of this. And then we're probably likely to get our ad filled. So I'm not going to look to grab a double-sized loss on it, right? Low of the S&Ps, looking to crack here below the opening range low. If the S&P's opening range low goes, then I think we can get our trade here to the opening range low, and that's pretty much right where this is going to end up, down into this range there. If we can get through the bottom of the opening range low, this definitely hits off, I feel, with pretty easy momentum breakdown. Didn't quite get through the low of this wick here, so that's the only concern I have. May look to go to break even if I see S&P bounce up to 28.528950. NVIDIA starting to bounce. We're very patient with this. We're starting to let it go, but I see some bounces going on that I'm not really a fan of. You can see the delta pushing downside here, still kind of lacking that push up on the follow through. Get above that candle there. We'll see. Okay. Come on now. Nvidia is still very heavy. I don't feel like that we got a bounce out of that. I think we're still in good shape with our stop above the wick of this little double top type action that we have here. It'll be on the 1 minute. You can see it there. If this can hold below VWAP this time, hopefully we can get that rollover. I kind of just don't like it as a bull flag type deal. SMCI gave it a little bounce. AMD gave it a little bounce. So maybe NVIDIA is going to just continue to roll over with the bounces that's been going on. If not, we might get that push because Apple's starting to push up. Microsoft caught a little bit of a bounce because Tesla, it was running, but now it's pulling back. See Apple. NVIDIA's been my leader. I'm going to go with it. See if it'll hold. Kind of just flirting with this entry price. If a dump is going to come in, it's going to come in. If a rip is going to come in, it's going to come in soon. So I am kind of willing to just accept this risk here. And if it does dump, I feel like it's going to dump pretty hard, pretty fast. We haven't built a stronger delta, right? So as price tries to push up, delta doesn't play. You're trying to push highs. Delta's not pushing up through these levels, so there's a chance that it doesn't push. S&Ps are still holding below that 5290, but see for how long. Oh, we have consumer confidence coming through in 2 minutes too, so we will get some sort of manipulation coming through. Normally, I'm not liking to be in or whatever during news, but if it does come up and pop me out, then it comes up and pops me out. Like I said, we accepted the risk on it. We're going to see if we can take this to the downside. If that consumer confidence comes in hot, then I would anticipate, higher for longer rates kind of deal, and see if we can keep this short alive for 1 more minute. I don't know. It wants to pop up. It wants to get above that level just for that number, I bet. And if it does, I didn't want to move it down too much. Let's keep it above that. Let's leave our stop alone at the normal area there, 96. Hopefully it holds below here. Probably a stop run rip and then a failure from there. So I would just watch it. Be careful. How many seconds left in this candle? 30 seconds left in this candle. $15 seconds. Do we pop out? Do they stop us out, or do they make us our profit for the day? Let's find out. I have my stop set, so I've been in this position. It's not like I'm entering into something new for the consumer confidence, but it's whippy, very, very whippy, and now it's pushing downside. I don't know what the number came out as. It's going to pop us out and go run down. There it goes. Popped us out. We're stopped out there. 287. Still didn't get the consumer confidence to come out yet. It's kind of just lingering, waiting. We had Fed manufacturing index come out lower than anticipated at -11, shipments -14, and the number came in light, so it may be good for Rate cuts. Let's see. Consumer confidence. Overnight high. I'm going to watch that overnight high now for any sort of move. I'm watching this here to see if that overnight high will get tagged. Oh, wrong one. So yeah, it came in just lighter than anticipated. The forecast was 106, consensus 107. We came in at 104.7. So consumer confidence is down, meaning the rate cuts possibly could start to come in. That's the the thought process behind consumer confidence numbers. Where am I? So I'm going to be watching the overnight high levels to see if we get back into that. I'm going to flatten this. We're down 287, but really the attempt was good. We weren't looking to go crazy on it. Like I said, I only took one contract. We're flat right now. We're down 287. We took a shot at it. The consumer confidence came in light, burnt this out. So that's, you just take the chance. As if you're in the trade already and you have your risk set and it's worth taking the shot at it and leaving it alone. Everything else is kind of turning downside. Russell, you can see Russell over here turning downside. Where are we at? Russell, you can see it rotating downside here, breaking through these lows. S&P's over here, wicking above that pre-market of the opening range high, and now trying to push above the overnight range high, and the S&P's, the NQ, pushing up into that overnight high area. So we're going to watch what happens at the overnight high, see if we can get some setup going on up here. But right now we're going to be a little bit patient. A break and a hold above that level will give us a 30-minute. Up into the first target of 660. Well, really 640s is the base of that, where all those wicks came in. So 646 to 660 could be that first target above here. So this range right there could be important if you do crack above the overnight high, and then all-time highs above at 706. Trend line holds once, twice. Does it hold again? Do we make a lower high here? We're going to watch. Just patience, waiting to see what happens with this here. Like I said, we're down 287 on that. We just took a short shot at it, waited, kind of built into this little, it built into a wedge like I was mentioning. Russell is turning downside, of course. 75% long on the tilt kind of gives me an indication that with the Russell turning downside so hard that something here is going downside as well. We're into that overnight range. That high of 600 just got touched pre there. So I'm going to watch this to break down above that same 94 level. Similar, if I could start to see tilt get up into that 80% range or closer to 75, I like to see it a little bit getting heavy, but I think we still should probably see that overnight high. I just like this rising wedge type deal. It's been playing out pretty nice over the past few weeks. If we get up into that 620 range and do this same sort of setup, I will look to go in heavier, probably two, and then rotate that down to VWAP. Just cracked it. Let's see if it holds. There's the crack of that rising wedge, but Russell caught a really nice bounce at 2105.90, and S&P is just holding above 5289.50. We're kind of right in a no man's land, right in the middle of some of this chop from the overnight, so it's not something I'm necessarily convinced of right away. Maybe if we get down below this 95 again, I'll look to try it one more time. S&P's now trying to push again lower a touch. Your longs dissipated a bit on that pullback. I think just a little bit early on the short for me. Yeah, 600 level obviously is pretty key, psychological round number. We played with that level quite a bit last night. NVIDIA is rolling over really pretty hard right now, so I would be interested if this does get break and hold below this 93. It's also a bounce point, right? Breakout, bounce, rotate higher. So that's just another reason why I'm just going to be pausing right now, not going to rush into it, but the risk to reward is there. If it holds, that's going to be a different story, right? That's what I'm going to be looking for, a little hold below. But this could bounce resistant, support. Now we're right here again, support again. So that's why I'm, with the S&P pushing up higher, pushing up into that 52.93 level, and the Russell pushing back up to 21.08. This is looking like it wants to get strong again. False type breakdown. Good call on staying out of that one there. Pushing upside. Rejecting there. If we do get a manipulative candle, maybe get pushed up a little bit. I'm going to look to see if I can get the delta here. You can see delta. Looks like a base, forming a bit of a base, consolidation, higher low, breakout, sitting on top of a key level at 94.50-ish. So I'm standoffish on it. Even with NVIDIA doing its dance with the bottom here. That's really what's carrying it there. Apple pushing up, wicking highs. Microsoft pushing down a bit. SMCI. NVDA. See what happens at these lows. This is the same sort of level that we were messing with yesterday. I did mention that 938 probably gets touched if we do flush the low here. It didn't quite get there. Then I did say that 946 was going to act as some resistance. Ended up acting as resistance. If you get through that, 938.44, I say sellers just kind of pour into this NVIDIA. So we did break and hold below 94 there for a second. I still don't trust it not to bounce quite yet. Consumer confidence getting lower is good and bad for the market. So that's sort of why it's an indecision level at the moment, right? We're at a point where consumer data is driving inflation. However, any sort of negative inflationary number, right? Something like consumer confidence being down is also not great for the economy, so it's not great for businesses. But at the same time, it also indicates that the Fed will kind of stick to its 3 cuts for the year. So you're getting this kind of little battle of how can we price this in, because we're not sure quite. If the consumers are not going to spend money, then we're not going to make money. But at the same time, if rates get cut, then we're going to be better off. So it's just like a double show. So unfortunately, that trade did work out nicely. We didn't take it, so we were stuck there, unfortunately. You know, it is what it is. Delta pushed down really nice and hard right to the previous day high. Let's see if we could crack previous day high and hold below VWAP. Acceleration to the downside some. We're going to watch that trend line, see if the trend line cracks. If it doesn't, if it holds, then we're going to see some pretty good selling. I mean, a bounce from there. I'm sorry. If it holds the trend line, it could bounce pretty good from there. A bounce above up into here and a rotate down, then you're good. Let's see what happens here. Is that manipulation? What's that delta look like? Right into VWAP. Caught that previous day high and now is rotating up. S&P's looks like it was a wick off. I think a crack above here, you could probably go long up into that 600, up above 600 and into that overnight high. You see that wick there, looking to rotate back higher, but NVIDIA is still pushing the lows. NVIDIA trying to break that 946. Yesterday's low. And market bounced really nicely from there, which is very interesting. Something else is pulling it up. What is it? It's Tesla probably. NVIDIA is trying, but Microsoft's catching a little bit of a bounce. Apple is still pushing up high side, so you know, I'd be cautious on the short. Because NVIDIA at any second could catch support here and then run right up like it did yesterday. Pretty rangy. Meta, Amazon, NVIDIA, Apple. Still just hanging around. Apple below that 171.83. I mean, it could push up into there just like it did yesterday. Wick down. I did mention that it kind of looked very similar to yesterday's price action coming into the open. Could bounce into here and rotate higher. We're right at the over. I guess this is post-market session, sitting just above the low there. The low of that was 170.76. I think this NQ wants to do the dance. Not quite at that overnight high yet. Maybe could catch, like I said, catch a little bit of a bid here, up in and through this level here. I'll give it a shot long through this 600 level if it wants to go. With the S&Ps pushing higher, with Apple pushing up, Microsoft pushing down. Microsoft just gapped up a touch. And NVIDIA is now downside break yesterday's low. Broke yesterday's low now. So that rotation's coming in hard. We'll give it a shot. Short here. Selling it again. I'm risking above 600. Once again, very similar risk. I'm looking to see if I can rotate this down because the NVIDIA crack of yesterday's low. And the same level we were trying to play before on the short. I think there's just a lack of follow through to the upside. The delta isn't pushing up very strongly either. But if we do get above this 94, then we might need to hammer out. You can see NVIDIA just cracking yesterday's lows is pretty important to me. Add below VWAP on a hard flush, and then we'll take a profit taker down here. Same area. Probably right now, right there. Maximus. Shooting our shot at the same price point again for the short. Not necessarily just like FOMO revenge, but we're just kind of playing off the breakdown of NVIDIA breaking the low of yesterday and trying to see if that'll continue to flush down. And if that does, and if Microsoft or Apple or any of these other names follow through, hey Max, then we should also get follow through. But sort of some disconnect there. So I don't necessarily believe that it's gonna go, but it's out there. We are in it. NVIDIA must be breaking back up on a bounce. Oh, the Delta's pushing up higher now. Price is going to make new highs, so 600 should get tagged. We'll probably get stopped on that. I pushed the wrong button there. NVIDIA still holding down at the lows. Oh. Microsoft bouncing. Apple holding. Tesla trying to break the highs. Amazon rolling. NVDA cracked the low again, and we're going to be stopped out on that. Just shooting our chances with one contract on these shorts. It was worth the shot to take the risk. Down 555. So we're over 2 on those 2 shorts. I guess they're not outsized. You know, yesterday we made 1100. We're down 5. We still have good opportunities showing their hand here. Like I said, I wanted to get to that overnight high. Didn't quite get there yet. Really just played off of this NVIDIA weakness, but I should be aware that that wick at that bottom probably leads to some bullishness coming in. So we just got to be mindful of that as well. A crack of the high, but now we're so close to this overnight high that any sort of break above here might be limited. Could flip long with this strength coming back in. Does Tesla break the high? Maybe. Higher low, higher low, higher low. Manipulation candle to the downside. Maybe now we get that break above. The Delta did push higher. Price didn't make new highs yet. So that's an interesting divergence as well that we do get sometimes. That does lead to some downside pressure. S&P's wicked off that 5293.50 level, and now it's starting to turn downside. Russell as well, turning a little bit downside. Gonna try and be a little bit more patient on it. Some CI. Just consolidating. NVDA, AMD. Tesla failed to hold above the highs. Trading out the gold cup. for the Silver Cup. Yeah. Get a better trade going. Okay, Apple turning. Let's try it again. Shoot our shot here. Risk to that high. Once again, based on the levels and the divergences, that's how I make my decisions on my plays here. That's a lower high, delta divergence, getting selling in all the indexes, not just the NQs. So the short has the chance to come in here to play with this trend line at least. If we do get that add on, then we're going to go to break even. If we get to break even and get down to here, then we'll go and even further down. If this does want to hold this level, if not, if it does come back above that 605, we may even flip long on it for the break above because it's going to be a strong push. However, looking at the Apple rotating down, trying to get below that 88.50. Looks like it just cracked 88.50. Looks good. Third time's the charm possibly here. Maybe the change of cup gives us a bearish. I am drinking out of a bowl mug, so. Okay, pushing down, pushing down, pushing down. See if that push down holds or if it's going to be another wick manipulation type move. Apple moving down, Microsoft pushing down, Nvidia continuing its downside pressure. Looking at this being a lower high, trying to diverge, trying to push down. That's what I'm looking for here. If we can flush the low, we can at least get some profits back on this. If not, if it's going to rotate back to highs, then you're going to get some very strong push. The Russell just pushed down pretty hard. So let's see if this will push down as well. Just trying to go level to level here from 94 down to 31, give or take. Obviously, I'm front running 31 a little. And if we get down into that range, obviously, we're going to be trailing out as we move to the downside. So that's our max target there. And if this, for us to make it, we got to make about for it to be 1,500 max win on the day. So we can leave our targets low down there as well. So we're not in a bad shape. We are taking this trade. We're going to record it there. See if this thing will go downside and flush for us with the Russell flushing. Small caps flushing. Let's see if the Mag 7 names will continue to roll down. Nvidia ticking back up. Hopefully looking to continue its rotation to the downside. Just grabbing some liquidity here and pushing up. Looks like that's the case. Looks like Apple is sitting at the highs. Microsoft pushing up some. Tesla pushing down. I want Nvidia to roll, baby. Just feels heavy to me. It's one of those heavy days. Price is kind of slowing down at highs, pushed up pre-market, needs to clear out one of the ends. And the overnight low, to me, would be a nice little target. If you can crack yesterday's high, overnight lows definitely come into play. That price is 71. If we get filled, like I said, we're going to go just above that 95. We'll go there now. That'll be our stop there. So we've mitigated some of our risk on this. We are going to add a second contract down below this low here at VWAP. So if we get filled on that, then we're going to go to only risking above there. So we are filled. Only risking that initial 275. So we have now double the contracts on. Looking to see if we can crack through yesterday's high or if it's going to end up just rotating right off VWAP and ripping our face off. So that's the thought on this trade here. Maximize my win to the downside if I can capitalize on it, right? If we can flush VWAP here, then we could rotate all the way to this target. But we got to see if we can hold it. NVIDIA rotating down some more. We are holding below 88.50, which is a good sign. 88.50. Letting this thing roll, trying to see if it'll play out. Need to crack through this low here. If we can crack down through VWAP again, through this low 78, I'll probably go to break even just because of my lack of trust of a wick bottom type manipulation sweep. So I'm just going to be cautious on it. There's a good flush. Our stop's above 88.50. It's going to go above 88.50, 89. There we go. So we are at 89. We're only risking 155 on it. Now we're not risking anything on it. We got that great flush. Really, really nice push down. We got to be mindful that 71 was yesterday's high. 71 breaks. Then we're going to start to trail this downside. I'm going to go, like I said, just above VWAP with the stop. If we get whipped out of the VWAP, then it is what it is. We made some of our money back at 145. But this is how I'm going to trail. I don't trust that to not be a liquidity sweep, rip our face off type move. I am pretty confident that the short is coming in to play. So if we do crack this trend line here, I think we do get through to the lows and take off that bottom target. So if we get through that low right here, this blue line, and into this range here, then stops will go just above, right kind of where we're at, that 71 level, because that's yesterday's high. So if we get through the blue line, we're going to go right above yesterday's high, which is that 71 level. Still flushing, still flushing. Really, really nice short there. Very, very good. Looking to see if we can capitalize on a break of that trend line there. We're waiting to see. We're trying to be patient. We are right at yesterday's high. So if we're going to break yesterday's high and hold and accept into yesterday's range, then this is where we're going to do it. If not, then it's not going to happen and possibly rotation back up. So now we're at that blue line. I'm going to go right here. I'm going to get above yesterday's high. If it's going to bounce off this and be a nice, real hard bounce, I would like to secure at least most of my losses back. You can see why we added that second contract where we did and what kind of flush we were looking for. If we can get down through this blue line, we are going to sell off pretty hard. There we go. Pushing nicely down to downside. Pretty nice sweep there. Hell yeah, baby. Securing at least above that high. Now we're going downside. I am going to secure up into there. I don't want to get wicked out, but I don't want to not give it the chance to give me some of my monies. So above yesterday's high, I'm going to go there still. I'm going to be patient, and I'm going to do it with one contract. Should I go one contract? No, I'll leave it. That was a very hard flush, right? So we're looking to see if we could continue that flush down further through that low. I mean, that was a really nice break of that trend line. Still holding. It's not like it's bouncing. You're not really getting a really great bounce. So we're going to go right to there. We're going to trail candle to candle now. Go right to that low there. Secure ourselves a nice 975 on that trade. Pushing down. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Come on now. Hit off on our targets. Hit off on our targets. We've secured 1,200 on that. If it breaks back up above, we secure 1,200. If not, we get tagged for our full take profit. But right now we're looking to see if it'll hold below this low here. Come on, hold below this low. Take us out at that 20.055. Give us our max profit on the day. If we can hit off on that target, we will be up 1,500, just shy of 1,500 on the day. And we'll lock ourselves out of this account. We'll look for another trade on the other account. No matter what, this is going to be the last trade on this account. Like I said, we're trying to get funded in three accounts this week, or try our best to get to as close as we can. It's a shortened week. Friday is no trading. So there we go. We're pushing lower, seeing if we could get off at that level there. That's my next key level. But you can see there's some consolidation here. It's just gonna have some chop through that zone. Overall, I think great short. Really happy with that. Glad you were able to see it. I'm recording it, so I will do a little recap on it after the fact. Let's see if we can tag off our full take profit here. Looks like we're gonna get close to it. Come on, baby, fill us. Oh my God, we're to the tick. We didn't get filled. Come on now. Fill me up, Buttercup. No way. One tick away from getting filled on that at 33.75. So we are happy with this trade no matter what. Either way, give or take $500 on the profit. Looks like we're gonna get tagged, and nope. I must have picked the perfect resistance. I'm just front running that 31.75 level a little bit. We're still seeing that heaviness. Looking like we want to come down and tag that price. Come on, get us filled. Either way, like I said, we're satisfied with this take profit the way it is. We're just going to give it to there, 1,600 or 2,000. That's the bottom of that wick. That's why I moved that there. So if it does pop up, we'll take that. Up $1,113 on the day. What a great move there. I'm really very pleased with the analysis, taking that third shot at it and giving it the chance to breathe and get into it. We were one tick away. We were at 33.75. We got the very low was 34.50. So we were 2 ticks off of our take profit right there. So that's why I trailed down kind of tight, because then you're going to get a retracement like this. Can't be mad at taking profit for 1,600 and change on that, right? So went from down to green. That's how you do the day. Do a little dance, shimmy. Calling it all out live here, tradecaster.com every single day. Be here, see the levels, understand what we're doing, and you too can be passing these combines and making yourself some money. Or if you're in your own account, making some money there. So we're up 1.13 and 80 cents, since that's what it wants to show me. We're flat, but we are going from red to green. Let's do it. Bright green too. Bang bang, daddy. All right, so we're gonna Top Step X has included a new cool feature that I am really appreciative of. It is the lockout tool, manual lockout. So I don't want to trade accidentally on this account. I don't want to make any stupid choices and enter into a trade and be like, I can make another $400 because I can do this. No matter what, even if I made $400 more today, I still would be shy of my target by $200. And I would still have to trade tomorrow, because you can't make more than 50%, and 50% of $3,000 is $1,500. So we are going to hit the manual lockout button, and it says, yes, lock me out of this account. So now I can no longer trade this account on accident, on purpose, for the rest of the day. They will not let me trade this account. So Top Step X, Top Step, really appreciative of that, because there's days that I would love to just get that last $400, and making the conscious decision to hit that button there and lock myself out of this account is exactly what I need to help my my mentality and keep the profits that I'm making. So really nice trade there. I'm going to stop recording this now, and we could do that as a video later. We will likely get filled down here at 31. I was at 33.75. I can't believe that idea there of that fill. Could have gave it up a couple ticks and been fine, and I also could have let it breathe some, but that's not my game. If I'm gonna make 1,600 or 2, there's not a big difference in that. I'll take that money every time. The switch of the mugs was all it took, thanks to the wife. We went from gold mug to silver mug here, brand new addition to the Day Trading Coffee Company mug lineup. You can get it in silver or gold. And also we have this new shirt, Bears vs. Bulls Fight Night, right? Fight Night shirt. Check it out. Pretty sweet. Bears versus Bulls. That daily fight night. All right. Sitting here up $1,113. So now that we're locked out of that account, we have a whole nother account here that's completely empty on profits. So now what are we going to do here? We're going to get some analysis going and figure out which way this market wants to go from here. We can see NVIDIA did its little dump dance. I say now 938.44. If you get a bounce from there, I need to see this down to 31.75. And what it does at 31.75, like it did yesterday, we need to see, is it going to break and flush and continue to rotate lower? Or, I mean, we did just crack, we did just crack this trend line here, this little rising wedge here. This ended up cracking, right? So we ended up getting short finally. So there you go. Another day, another $1,000 win on a nice little. It's only 2 contracts. It's not like oversized, and we weren't risking huge, right? I only risked $275 per trade on those trades. So you could see the ability for one good winner, if you can keep yourselves from hammering in and hammering in and hammering into trades and looking for confluence at levels. Confluence at levels is going to help you make your decisions way better than just making decisions to just do it. You need to realize that there is opportunity out there. You can see now we're starting to bounce. We're at that pre-market low. I mean, not pre-market, the opening range low. Got a little bit of a divergence there, right? Flattened out, trying to make new lows on Delta. Didn't. Try to make new highs. Now price is turning. So we did a really good job of our take profit there on that account because, you know, I mean, realistically, I was a tick away, but to trail just above here, you know, obviously we'd have gave back all of it. So that's why I trail. When I start to see fast moves, I trail fast. If I start to see, you know, you saw how price here, I didn't trail very quickly on this, and I took that loss on there, which is fine, right? We had our reasons behind it. We saw the same manipulation here, didn't quite make new highs, rolled down. You started to see faster movement, and then as I started to see faster movement in price action, I want to trail it a little quicker because the chances of it rebounding and jumping the other direction in that same speed, to me, is likely to happen, especially in the NQ. NQ gets very whippy. I'm glad you took that same short, Ray. I love it. Glad you took it because it was in your face. Really, really happy with that trade there. I'm glad anybody who is in here was able to capture some of it. I think Ray caught it. Awesome. If you missed it, I am going to do a quick recap on it after I'm done trading today. I'm going to do my little market breakdown, Policing Pips Instagram page. Another really nice trade. We have some good things in store for everybody at Tradecaster. Deck is setting up some really cool events and stuff like that. So I think we're going to be adding more and more and more value. Like I mentioned, I'm trying to grow my coffee business here, Day Trading Coffee Co. I am fueled by coffee nonstop all day, every day. And I figured for day traders to have a coffee of their own, didn't have it out there. So I figured why not provide it to the masses. But also, like I said, we're traders. So we're out here, we're trading. I want to use that coffee company to help build other people's trading accounts, give them the opportunity to start to give away, you know, combines and funded accounts. But I can't do that without making sales. So the more sales I can make, better we could be trying to give away accounts and help out other traders, right? It's not just a profit making machine. It's something that I want to do to be able to help traders make money and also enjoy really, really good coffee delivered straight to your door. So, like I said, we do have this brand new mug. This is same as that coffee with cream tea. We got one in silver, one in gold. Check out the shop. And the Bears vs. Bulls tea, brand new. We do have price still continuing downside. I don't see any reprieve coming. It's probably going to be this breakdown here. We do have that, I think from yesterday, that 31.75 level that was really important. If that level goes, I do see that 18,498, 500 level coming back into play. The only thing I can notice right here is a slight, I don't do pattern stuff like real, like those, you know, pattern that people see, but you do kind of see this head and shoulders type thing building here. You got this head, shoulder. If this comes back up into here, watch for this break to the upside back to all-time highs. So if we hold 531.75, you are looking at that head and shoulders type pattern. I don't know how to delete this shit, so give me a second. This? How do you get rid of that? Is there a Control-Z button on this? Oh, yeah, there we go. Great. Fantastic. So, yeah, I would just be cautious. We're going to watch this. I'm going to put an arrow here because I do think that there's importance right at that level there. I want to see if it's going to hold or if it's going to bounce from here. Then if you do crack this, I would like to watch, obviously, that 18,498, that 500 level is that, you know, psychological level, but at the same, and then also that doesn't really invalidate this crazy head and shoulders, inverted head and shoulders type thing that you got going on here. If you put it on the 30 minutes, probably even clearer, right? It's a smooth breakdown, pop back up into resistance, flush down, back up in. Same deal. Now you're pushing back down for that next shoulder. Even down into that 500 level doesn't invalidate it going to the long side longer term, right? Because you still didn't invalidate this. But if you do break down 500, then you know you have all this room from this big rally up here, right? So there are some levels in here that do need to get kind of cleaned up potentially down into, I'd say that 32, but you know 18,060. That closes that gap once again, that rollover gap. So there's just a lot of information that needs to be gathered here for you to make a really good informed decision on it. Like I said, I kind of just drew up this trend line based on the shorter, lower time frames because I got a little bit more information out of the touches, right? You got the information here. This was that wick manipulation to catch us going long. And then everything else has been sitting on top of here until just now we broke that low. So breaking through that low, you need to see, is this 31 level going to hold? And then you're going to rotate back up above, failed breakout of this little pattern, and then a rotate back higher. Or are we going to continue on down to the downside, breaking through 18,531 and rotating down to 18,500. Right now, NVIDIA is cracking lows again, looking to get into that 938.44 level, which was a level that I had drawn up for some reason, but it's just a good target that I had. I think maybe a little bit front run that a little bit at 939.25 is more valid. I think that's a better level, that 939.11. That level right there is a little bit more important. And even into like the round number there at 940, which it just basically touched 940.44. So NVIDIA trying to get to that lower level to maybe catch a bid and bounce. However, everything is seemingly heavy. Microsoft, rolling, Apple, tried to make highs, failed that. If it fails that 170.30 level, I think it rotates back down to lows. NVIDIA, obviously, like you said, there it goes. AMD, SMCI, MSTR, Tesla creating a rising wedge pattern here. If this breaks down, watch out. I would watch this level, be cautious at it. If it breaks above, you know, Tesla has the ability to do the same thing as Nvidia and just take off and go and run for days. So I would be cautious on Tesla. Microsoft, you would watch days lows, which, you know, you are in this little bit of a pattern as well here. You have this base, you flushed it, you bounced, see if it flushes it again or if it bounces. I think if, like I said, if Apple, if 170.29 goes, you probably have to lows of the day on Apple. NVDA, possibly looking to catch a bounce. You can see why I chose where I did for my targets. It's just level to level, right? We're just trying to rotate one side or the other from that VWAP. You know, rotating to VWAP. Usually, if I get to that overnight high, my first target's VWAP because of you can see how much resistance you got along that area. Once you flush VWAP, a rotation right to the other side is never a bad idea. Just purely based on price wanting to find liquidity, find imbalances, looking to see where it can facilitate trade. Moves like this are just moves to new areas to get new trades. And so that's why I pick the targets that I do. We've been really good at doing it. It's go time. Let's see. Now we're getting a little bit of another low here. This account here, I am looking to do the same thing I did with the last one. But I locked myself out, right? I told you Top Step X has a great, if you're going to join in and go to Top Step and I'm going to copy this. I'll give you the link. Copy the link. Click this link here. If you go here, use the code. I don't know if it gives you a little bit of a discount, but use the Top Step X. That's what I'm using right now. Top Step X platform. If it's available, use it. It gives you the ability to manually lock yourself out. So that little button right here next to your daily limit, you could hit that button. If you don't want to get close to that $1,000 daily drawdown on the 50K account, let's say you set yourself for a personal drawdown of $600. If you hit that $600, instead of being like, I could definitely get it back, just fucking hit that button. Hit that manual lockout button, lock yourself out. You hit your personal max loss. You can trade tomorrow, get out. On the flip side, like I did today, I got to a little bit of a drawdown, and then I hit off on my profit targets. I was just shy of that, $1,500 daily goal for the combine because of the just profit target, 50% of the 3,000 in one day. We want to just cut it. I said I don't want to try and make that $400 because if I try and make that 400, could give back 400 and 500, 1,000, go back negative. I don't want to do that. Hit that lockout button, lock yourself out. No need to keep trading for the day on that account. If you want to keep trading and you have another combine like we do here, we're trying to get more than one combine funded without trade copying. We could also trade copy here. I didn't do that. I want to manually pass some of these because it kind of gives me the opportunity to spread my risk out some. I don't want to just have all my risk on the table at one time. So I'm just looking to kind of preserve each account. I kind of got myself into some trouble with it, copying it. That's how I burned a couple accounts at the same time when I shouldn't have, right? You should have been able to keep these accounts, having 3 accounts funded at a time If you trade copy them, you burn them all at the same time. So just be mindful of that as well. Trade copying goes both ways. When it comes down to this here now, we got to just be patient. Let it happen. It's 9:51. Maybe we let that hourly candle close, see where we're at, see if this is going to be just a base and break down, or if it's going to be come down here and then rotate back to the highs. We are going to go look here. We are holding below. I'm going to get rid of that. We're holding below the opening range and yesterday's high. So now yesterday's high is here. Yesterday's low is all the way down there. Then there was some interest down here at that zone. That was a consolidation area. Okay, I'll walk you through that trade. Absolutely. Let me go into the Top Step X because it's a little bit cleaner. Oh, actually, no. I'll stay right here. So we're on the 1 minute time frame. I am watching these key levels on, we'll start here on here, NVIDIA. All right. So I have these levels drawn from prior, right? These yellow dotted lines are longer term. We'll go 30 minute here. Longer term key support and resistance areas that I have drawn up, right? So if you go back to this big run up after the rollover, NASDAQ came right up into that 18,588.50 level and became immediately sold off, right? Obviously, we burnt right through it, but as we returned back to it, it acted as key support here. We came back to it again. It rolled over, but it acted as resistance, resistance, resistance. These are zones, right? But I usually use the zone as a key area, right? Sold off from here. So it pushed up here, kind of invalidated it, but when it came back to it, it acted as resistance, right? Support or resistance there again. So now we've returned back to that area, right? We pushed right back into that lower zone as well. Support, 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 bounce, right? That's why that support was the target for this trade. Okay, so now we're coming into today. Today, we're looking at some key levels, right? We roll into the day. 8:30 is right here. So this is the opening range, right? Red line to blue line is the opening range. We dipped our head below that pre-market low right there, and we started to rally on up. This blue line here, this light blue line, is the previous day high. We got above the previous day high. We're holding above VWAP. I tried to short the first time on this failed breakdown, right? Tried to fail, and it just got into VWAP. We got into the news, which came at 9, which was the consumer confidence number. That came out lighter than expected, so it kind of pushed us up, gave us that, and stopped us out, right? So once we got into that area, it stopped us out. That 18,885, it's not on this chart, so that's why I'm switching over here. But I'm just showing you the reason I took it the first time was the delta divergence, right? You came into here and you didn't make new highs. You started to get good flush on the delta. We were actually up pretty good, about $200 on the trade. I was risking 200, but I wanted to rotate fully down to the low, right? So I'm going to switch back over to here just because this is where I took the trade. And I'm going to go into the 5 minute on here because it was a 5 minute kind of idea, right? So we got into here. This was the pre-market. That level, that 880.50 up into that 600 level was a zone of support for the overnight, right? So we're looking at it, getting into that 1 minute. I just get down to lower and lower time frames. You can see that's where I took that first trade, ended up getting stopped out on that news. The lack of the follow through up into the overnight high was interesting to me, right? So lack of follow through, overnight high was right here at 619. We'll call it 620. 18,620 was that overnight high. Didn't push. You got right up into that 608 level, flushed right through our 88.50. Once again, it became kind of manipulative, right? It was wicky and then right back up to the high. So I was considering, hey, maybe this might be a long. Then I was watching NVIDIA. I watched NVIDIA break down, came over here down below this 953 level, popped back up into this liquidity zone and started to flush. Once I started to see this flush and the NQs were starting to kind of linger at the highs but not break out, I was interested in this, right? And then you started to see that price just couldn't make new highs. We started to push up, push up, push up. go back into here, that's right here at this level where we started to look. You got a really nice push in delta. I use two different types of delta divergence, right? I use the delta. If the delta is pushing up and price isn't making new highs, I'm interested because price, although there are buyers hitting the bid, price isn't going anywhere. So that means there is a bigger seller sitting here looking to take that short, right? So delta pushing up didn't happen. The other type of divergence I normally take is if price whips up here, makes new highs, and you're not getting new buyers, I'm interested, right? Because you're not getting new buyers. Was that a liquidity run? And then you see a return back. That's when I like to use the other type of divergence, right? But similar divergence here, right? Delta pushes up, price doesn't make new highs. You start to roll over. You're getting this little bit of a wedge pattern here, right? So there you start to see the breakdown. Once I saw that breakdown start to go with NVIDIA, everything, pointing to this going to be a short, right? So then I'm going to go into orders, trades. Here we go. We're into trades. This is the wrong account. We got to go into the manual lockout account, dismiss. You can see our entry was 18,591. 18,591 was right here. I have that level more so from the overnight level. So I adjusted that 885 level to being with this consolidation just for this divergence here. So I said I took the short there below, and then I had a second contract that I added on below VWAP. The reason I added it below VWAP is I said if it touches VWAP again, then the follow through is likely, right? If it flushes it and goes, it should go pretty quickly. I was risking just to the high of this candle here, right there. So that risk came, we flushed right through. We got to our add. We added on that second contract. Once we got through and down below this candle, that low there, we went to basically break even just above this. When that first contract add-on got filled, I moved my stop from the high to just above that first one. So we never increased our risk. We just increased our reward ability, right? So, I was risking 275 on that one, got stopped out. Risk 275 on that one, also got stopped out twice, right? So I got stopped out on this, stopped out again on that one. Both of which I could have just took a 1-on-1, but I was really looking for this move to happen. So once I got that final confluence, I was more confident in allowing that trade to breathe a little bit to get down to that 18,531.75 target, which is just a big consolidation area. I had my take profit at 18,533 and 3/4, and we came within 2 ticks of that, right? I just dragged that down, and as I got really close to it, I got stopped out on a pullback up in through that 43 level. I think I got filled. Let's see. Yeah, I got filled at 18,543 and 1/4. So overall, went from down 500 to up 1,113 on that move just by risking 275. And then when I added on, I only risked 275 again. I've just added on at a 1-to-1 and then rotated down through lows, right? Because that's the kind of move I'm really looking for on a rotational type day. This week as well, you're kind of anticipating things to stay a bit more range bound, less likely to kind of just get on a rally and start going because of last week you got the FOMC decision, and it also kind of just left a bit of uncertainty in the air. So there's not a ton of really great information, and every little bit of news that you get, like today, the consumer confidence came in a bit light. That news is good and bad for the economy, right? If consumer confidence is good or going up, then it means that people are going to spend more money. That means these companies are going to make money. But also at the same time, if it's going up, that means that the Fed is less likely to cut rates, which is also seemingly priced in as negative on these companies, right? So kind of just getting a lot of conflicting information, because today it came in light. So realistically, you think, Fed's going to cut rates, still on track for schedule, but also at the same time, people aren't spending as much money, so price is kind of confused, right? So you're not getting the follow through on that end. You're not getting the follow through on the bottom end. You're going to just stay within a range. And if you could have a range bound type strategy where you get to extremes, right? My normal strategy is wait for that overnight high to come into play, but we didn't get quite there, but we were at a key level that I had from the past. So we could take the same setup that we would have taken at the 619 down at the 594.50, 88 8.75 level and then get down through to lows. So that's where how I kind of thought through that entire trade, how I executed, and then the reasons why I got out. I did mention as well the reason I trail fast on those, right? You see fast moves with these candles, especially in the NASDAQ. These candles move quick and then they return quick, right? You can see how fast we've retraced back up into here. And I didn't want to give back much of that because, you could get down to here and immediately V bottom and you're out, and you, instead of being up, $1,500, you're back up down to $1,000 or even down to even, if you just leave it at break even. So for me, is if I'm getting super close to my price target, I just go candle to candle, structure points. I get wicked out time to time, and it runs even further. But at the end of the day, if I'm within a range of my profit target, I'm gonna trail tight and quick and just secure as much of it as I possibly can. You're never gonna bottom tick, top tick, because price is always moving, always going around. So, like I said, I locked myself out of this account. I'm happy with the gain on there. Tomorrow we could pass this account with just shy of $800, just shy of $750. So we're looking to try and pass 3 of these. So we're trying to get one good trade on this account here, not this one. See if we can get 2 of these done for this week. You can see we got into this level, and now we're trying to rotate back up into VWAP. I hope that was a decent explanation as to why I took that. You do get a lower high on that as well, which was another confluence in my zone. And I'm just watching some of these Mag 7 names, and what's been driving the market's been these chip sector names, right? So with all these chip sector names pushing down, especially NVIDIA, that's really what I'm looking at. Yeah, that's been my biggest strength over the last, since I started using levels a couple of years. But sticking to that plan has been the detriment of some of my accounts, right? Like right now, I'm nowhere near either one of these levels. I am near this trend line break, right? But I get myself into trouble trying to play this trend line break as opposed to playing my levels, right? Because right now we're just in like a chop consolidation, not really in an area of decision. We're in the middle of 2 of my zones, right? So if I could just stick to waiting patiently, setting alerts, coming out and talking through all of these trades, being at a key level for me is more important than any sort of trend line break or anything like that, because I could mitigate my risks a lot easier, right? I was able to go 0 for 2 and still be in for the third. I can go 1 for 3 with a home. This was not a home run, but it's a nice little double off the wall, right? You with maybe a couple RBIs, because you're able to mitigate your risk at the levels, and if it goes back onto the other end of it and uses that support, then it's going to likely go much further in the other direction. So I could justifiably cut my loser in my own head, because I know that this level is used as a point where people are either going to go long and take it way further, or take it short and go way further. So I can take my risk, take it off the table, because I'm confident that if it does go through, it's going to break and continue on much further, and I'll be stopped out for a reasonable loss, and then I'll have an idea on maybe the other end on the other side of it. So for me, what I would look for right now, since we are at the bottom end of this, I did mention that we are looking to make sure that this 31.75 level holds, right? I don't want MSTR. Sorry, Microsoft, Apple, NVIDIA. Go back to NVIDIA. So NVIDIA has been dragging us around this whole time. We are getting some rotation back to the high side here. I would be interested back here again at that 588.50 level to see what happens here. If we do get up and through it, are we going to rotate up to the highs, or high of the day, overnight high 619? We are a little bit away from the overnight low which, if we do break through here, I think overnight lows do get touched. It tends to like to get cleaned up, right? You can see the support from yesterday, overnight low here. If we can get through that 31.75, overnight low and previous close could come in and get tagged. I don't know about yesterday's low. That would take a lot of selling to come in for yesterday's low. But you are starting to get a bit of higher lows, higher highs, kind of caught a base here. You get it back above VWAP, then maybe that rotation all the way up kind of comes back into play. Didn't never quite make it to the overnight low, even to that 18,531 3/4 level that was so important yesterday. We never made it there. So it's kind of acting as some support here. Could rotate back to that overnight high, but I'm not interested in taking any trades until we do get to, maybe back to where we just took that short, that 600 level, see what happens at 600. I'm not interested in shorting it. I may short it again, depending on how the price action sets up, or you may be able to take a long up and through and into overnight highs. But I would like to see the overnight high get touched before making a decision. Yeah, I'm not in any sort of rush to do this. How do I do that? I guess I can't do anything there. Alrighty, so we're just being patient with this, trying our best to just let this price get back to a level that we're going to be interested in. I don't want to be just hammering in trades just to hammer in trades. Not something I'm interested in. This is sort of pretty much chopped now. We're at 10, just past 10 o'clock here, Tuesday. We don't really have any more. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Sorry. 10 orders. The rest of the day, we have bill auctions at 10:30, 42-day bill auction, 5-year note. The 5-year note at noon, possible that it might move what's going on, but I wouldn't really put much stock into that. It's been kind of just bouncing around. The 5-year bonds, I mean, it's probably it's a good trading vehicle if you can trade the bond market. I'm personally, once I'm back funded and starting to take some payouts from Top Step here, I'm gonna start to look to add some more asset classes to the portfolio, just to give myself the ability to make some more trades. Like I love to watch crude. I know that there is a lot of movements and good price action, and it does respect levels pretty well. So I do like crude for the next set of ideas that I may start to either back test, forward test, just to see if my strategy on ranging type markets will play out. But I have to really dive deep into it, and I don't really have the time to just really dig into another asset class while I'm not doing well with my current one. Right? I mean, today we're doing all right, but yesterday we're doing okay. But we've hit a period of ups and downs this year, and it's all right. It happens. I just need to refocus in, and I think this week we're doing a really good job of sticking to our plans. I would like to see maybe I can do gold. Even as a coffee company, maybe I'll start to trade coffee. They don't want to let us trade coffee. Can't trade coffee here on this one here. MNQ, ES, S&P, Russell Dow, crude, and gold. Let's see what gold does. Gold's nice because it is pretty dependent on the dollar. It's got a lot of correlations. I was a Forex trader, obviously, to start, like everybody else probably, or a lot of people who get into the day trading world that want to just jump in pretty early. And I learned a lot about correlations, price action, based on fundamentals. So, gold and the dollar and the inverse correlations and stock market and hedging. There's a lot that gold does well as a trading vehicle. I just got to understand, price action on it and stuff like that. See if it has any use for me. I don't know the tick sizes on that or anything like that. So I'm not looking to trade it right now. Maybe I'll do one full combine on one of these other names. You see this 30-minute big wick down. This channel broke, obviously, what time is that? Right at 5 o'clock yesterday. It broke yesterday, came back in, closed inside of it. So kind of anticipated maybe a rotation back lower. But overnight, we rallied back up. We're sitting above. We just broke down through this little support here. I mean, realistically, if you kind of come into there, we broke it a while ago. But I think more so the body of this, like I said, the 5-minute was more, it told a better story than this 30-minute as far as those levels are concerned. This was more like you could see manipulative wick to grab some liquidity to push us higher. Sat on that level for some time. We're right into the bodies of those candles, and now we're breaking and holding below there. That's going to have to help us get lower through that 31.75. If we don't get up into either one of these ranges before I get done for the day, then I don't take another trade. That's just how it's going to be. If we do rotate back to here after making this sort of wick bottom and the 31.75 level holding, I think it might not be a short perfectly. What's up, Jofi? How you doing? We are looking at just trying to find that another trade here, maybe before 11 o'clock, but we are being patient, waiting for our levels to come back into play. As I mentioned, we're kind of sitting right at VWAP. Nothing that I like to do at VWAP. I use VWAP as targets. We're at that opening range high, looking to reject it a bit. I'm watching this 31.75 level. If we can get some sort of divergence play here, then I'll be interested maybe at the 31.75. I would prefer to be interested at the overnight low or the previous close, and then also from the zone that we took the short from earlier, right here around that 94 quarter, and then up into the overnight high. So right now we're at dead center of a range. We're still inside yesterday's range, but not for long. It seems previous day high right here, 571.75 is right where we're at. So if it wants to hold yesterday's high and stay within yesterday's range, then it will rotate back down to the lows. If not, if it wants to break out of yesterday's range and continue on back to overnight highs, then it does have room to go from here. But right now, like I said, at VWAP, I'm not usually looking for entries around here. This is dead center of my range, my zones, my levels. So I'm not looking to take any executions right here, right now on the NQ. So we'll go back to Top Step X here. Let's see what the tilt's talking. Still 50-50 on the tilt as well. Top Step has developed their own proprietary tilt meter here, which all it does is aggregate the percentage of their combines, I believe. I don't even think it includes their XFAs, and shows who's long and who's short. So what I like to do is, let's say we get to this 94 level, which we kind of added into the confluence here at this 600. If we get to that 600, that 94 to 600 level, and this tilt starts to get heavy long, most retail traders are wrong, right? And we're all retail traders, but the majority are on the wrong side of trades most of the time, right? You always feel like, oh, fuck, I got stopped out, right? Because the institutions are trying to do the opposite of kind of what you're doing. And not that they're looking for your stop exactly or whatever, but they just know the behaviors of people like us who are out here trading on our own and just trying to grab some liquidity. So thinking in their mindset, I like to see, okay, long 75%. 75% of retail traders are long above a key level. Let's rotate it back down, right? Like that's kind of what I'm thinking. And that's really an added layer. You know, I'm not just trading off of that percentage, but it is a helpful tool around key levels to see, all right, 80%, 85%, 90% of retail is long right here. That's a good indication that you're probably going to get a short to come in, or if vice versa. If you're down here at the lows and it starts to get heavy tilt, right? Short flips and it's 65, 75, 85%. I don't like to see it tilty until it's around that 75% and higher at a key level where I'm saying, okay, most people are probably wrong right now, especially in a range bound type day. If it's a momentum continuation type play, then those tend to work in your favor. It really just depends on the type of day, right? Today seems to be a range bound type day, right? We got up, we got down, we're up. So we're just kind of staying in the middle. The S&Ps is chopped and has stayed pretty much dead center of the opening range. Right now we're just sitting at that 52.89.50 level. So there's that. There's not that tilt coming in here. But we did break down this trend line. And like I said, I'm not trading at this level because it's dead center between two of my lines in the sand where I could at least minimize my risk, right? Because if I enter here, I'm really just trying to get short against that 80 or the VWAP. And you can see how price kind of messes around with VWAP as it gets to it. So you could go up, especially in the NASDAQ. You know, in the S&Ps, it's a slight difference. You can possibly play a VWAP level and be confident with your stop. For me, though, this could easily break through here, run to 94, and then rotate back to the downside on the NASDAQ. And that's just understanding market behavior of the asset class that you're trading, right? You could trade the S&Ps and be a little tighter with your stop and not get as perfect of entry and still, you know, respect your levels. It moves a bit slower. You're not going to get as big of moves, but the tick prices are more. So it's really pretty much the same trading vehicle, but the speed is different. The behavior is a bit different. With the NASDAQ, you're going to get much more whippy action. You're going to get candles that are going to move a lot further, a lot faster, and then kind of roll over in your favor. And there's, you know, you're going to get stopped out a little bit more, I feel like, in the NASDAQ than you will in the S&Ps. And you get a fresh baked muffins from the wife. It's a beautiful thing. Russell's rolling over. You can see it's not doing anything. It's just sitting here. You want to get that guy with the stick? Poke him? Do something. Do something. That's what I want to see. I might do that. I might create a reel. Let me see. It'll be funny. Find the sticker. Trying to make it a little funny. There's a little rotation from VWAP. So we are at the VWAP area. Still just, I made a stupid story on my Instagram just for fun because I thought it was funny, but it broke through because the little man gave up. This is why I don't trade the VWAP area, right? This looked like, hey, it's getting heavy, getting heavy, getting heavy. Delta's kind of acting in the right direction, probably going to rotate up to the highs through here, but you do have all this resistance. I'm going to put this line in the sand here. Pop. This is where we were interested in our short before. This is where we got short. We rotated right back down. We're going to kind of come back down. All right. So there's the breakup. See if it'll rotate all the way back. As I mentioned, we are up $1,113, and the Top Step X platform that I mentioned in the chat there. If you do go sign up for Top Step, try out the Top Step X. It uses the TradingView platform charting, so it's really clean. Charting's good. They've done a ton of work to the platform. They do good with commissions, and I like it a lot. As far as this tilt indicator is a really big help for me, and I like my AMP. I like my actual trading platform. AMP is great, but the ability to have Top Step kind of have their hand in it a little bit here kind of helps with the funding aspect of it. And then you can trade it anywhere. If you really don't have your computer with you, you have your laptop or something, you could just pull up the web platform and it's good. It's very, very clean. It's very responsive. It also gave me the opportunity to hit this little button here that's not there on this account because I already hit it. This button right here, right to the right of your daily drawdown, is a manual lockout button. If you click this button, like I did on the other account, I mentioned it before, if you weren't in here or if you were in here now, hit that manual lockout button, set yourself a limit, a daily loss limit for yourself. If it's not, you don't want to hit off on that 1,000, but if you do, it is what it is. It'll lock you out on its own. But if you want to say, I don't want to risk more than half of my daily drawdown, I want to risk 500 a day. So you hit off on that $500 loss, you hit that little exclamation point, and it'll lock you out of the account. You will not be able to execute a single trade on this account until 5 o'clock when the market reopens, or 6 or 4, whatever time it is in New York. At 6 o'clock, sorry. So you hit that button, you lock yourself out. Like I did on the other account, I was up 1,100. I can't make more than 1,500 a day in the combine because that's more than 50% of the account. I made just over $1,100 on it. So if you get to close to your goal, and you're like, I really feel like I can make that next, hit that lockout button. That lockout button is going to help you out. It's going to make sure that you're able to secure your profits for the day, not give anything back, and just go walk away. And it will not allow you to trade on that account. So that manual lockout button is so big for a psychological level, psychological help. Because for me, like if I have the opportunity to click a button, I'm gonna want to click a button. So if it can lock myself out, it'll helps a lot. So I'm gonna start utilizing that button a lot. I did yesterday. I made both accounts. I made over or close to the profit target. So I hammered out, locked myself out. If that's something that you need help with, then I think this is a really good tool. That's another really nice added bonus. And it's different than, like, let's say Trade of 8. You could set a manual lockout, but then you could really go in there and let me trade. and unlock it. But here, once you click that button, you're out. You got your ping, your API. There's a lot of things that they're adding more and more and more really good information. I do have my level 2 that's not showing up on here, which is interesting. So nothing, like I said, we're right in the middle of my range. Nothing that I want to trade. You can see there's not a ton of follow through to the upside on it, not a ton of follow through on the downside of VWAP. Kind of just sitting right here, slowed down quite a bit. Not much going on, right? If you're over on YouTube and you enjoy what you're seeing, we did call out a really, really great trade today. There are so many good traders over there on TradeCaster.com, aside from myself. But you sign up, use that 7-day free trial. Once you get past that 7-day free trial, I'm still free. You can watch me anytime, but it really kind of just focuses in on just the trading. Right, I'll pull it up over here. This is what it looks like. I have my when I trade, gives you a little bit of information about me. I have an alert bar here. Anytime I want to alert something, leave it up on top. You have that. I'm just making sure that it's on the right screen. Yeah, okay. So then you have a chat here that we've been chatting in. You have our stream. Here we are. We're streaming right here, right now. You can see us. I added a little chart thing. You got your economic calendar here. So you don't really have to get out of here. There's a lot of trading information. You can add notes, my bio, stream info. Time to time, I'll change things up. But for the most part, this is pretty much how it is. Also, not just me. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people live right now. Plus all these other awesome traders that come in every day and give you really good opportunities. You can see I'm free. You'll be able to see me once you go and create that membership. 7-day free trial. If that ends, then no matter what, you can come in and watch me. Anybody with the green free, you can watch. The paid accounts like Dekmar, AK, I think Mamba, I think that he's also paid. But you also get access to videos, education program, all that. So I would look for you to come in here and take full advantage of coming into some of these other rooms during your 7-day free trial. Make yourself some money and pay for that membership. Obviously, you can see pricing here. You can pay monthly, $174 every 6 months, annually, and then your lifetime membership. If you do the lifetime, hopefully you can make a few trades like I did today, and you're in good shape. Make a couple. Yesterday and today we're up a combined 25-ish. How much? Let's see. They'll say it right here. 22.56. That's how much we're up over the last 2 days. So you take 2 trades, you're already up the membership. That's just 2 days. One more trade, you can get a full lifetime membership and never have to look back. And you could always be in TradeCaster, always have access. So it's a really good tool. I like to give away shit. I know Deck likes to give away shit. So I've already given away a free month of TradeCaster to one of our members who's been here when we got our stream up over 50. Once I get my stream back over actually I got over 25. The stream actually did get close to 50 that day. Once I get back into having everybody come back out here and the stream getting up over the amounts that I talk about, I'll usually give targets for the stream. Then I'm going to give away a lot of things. I'm going to give away months of TradeCaster. I'm going to give away some coffee. I'm going to give away some gear. And then eventually, once the stream grows to bigger and better, we're going to start giving away some cash money. And also within my coffee company that I do have, that I've started, Day Trading Coffee Co., we are doing giveaways within our TradeCaster community here, right? I will pull up Day Trading Coffee Company here. Here's our partnership page. But this is our shop. You can subscribe and save anything here. You got all the coffees you could want. You got swag shop. You got all mugs, shirts. We got the mug right here. That's this one, the Bullish on Profits. I'm wearing the Fight Night Bears vs. Bulls tee right here right now, and the wood grain snapback. Got plenty of different things that you could choose from in here. Everything that you could want for fueling your trading. That's what we're doing here. I got some education information about coffee. I like to put the dynamics using coffee futures, trading prices, a lot of different reasons to drink coffee, caffeination benefits, caffeination detriments, stuff like that. And then a lot of good information. So daily, I'm trying to do that. Big part of this, I'm gonna try and do a funding fund. So 10% of all profits, once we're able to build up the company, is gonna go to funding underfunded traders. We're gonna try and give away combines to Top Step, give away cash accounts as we get bigger and better. Partner with brokerages, partner with Deck, and try and really give away some really good stuff, especially to our TradeCaster community. So if you're on YouTube, click that link in the chat and in the bio of whatever this is, the stream video. You can click that, join over on TradeCaster. The faster I could grow my TradeCaster viewership, the faster I could start giving away more and more stuff, and the bigger and better the things will be, because I just want to be able to be helpful. That's really all I might, want to do especially with my TradeCaster and my streaming, right? I want to be able to trade for myself. I want to be able to consistently profit for me. I want to build a coffee company for my family and for helping out traders. And I think that there's just a lot of good benefit in helping out others and making it so it's more of a community than it is a business just to make some money. So with my stream, with my coffee company, I'm really just trying to be out here helping, just do some other stuff, and then I want to trade for myself. So, that's why I don't stream for excitement or anything like that. It helps me by teaching, helps me grow my trading. And then also at the same time, it keeps me accountable. And then at the end of the day, if I could help a couple people here and there on their journey, because I know how hard this trading thing is, then I'm happy to help. Like I said, nothing doing here. We don't have any trade. We're just sitting in the middle of VWAP. This is just chop. This is nothing that I want to get involved in. You got manipulated down. You got manipulated up. You're just kind of chopping around. There's nothing here to me that would like to be traded. Yep. So my stream goes 8:30 a.m. to 11 every morning, Monday through Friday, unless I can't get here. We did build up really nice viewership leading into last week, and I decided that, last week my family came. They used my office as a bedroom, so I'd rather hang out with my family than stream, so because I don't get to see them that often. So they used the bedroom, and we kind of got back to the OG people here in the room, but that's okay. We will build back up bigger and better than ever. We'll build off of that momentum once the time comes. But like I said, we're up on one of the accounts. I just didn't get a chance to get another entry for the second account. Probably, for the next 35 minutes. Not much going on. There's the pop into VWAP. We're just sitting at the previous day's high, which is also VWAP, which is also flat. You can see it's just flat. There's no direction to it, telling you it's sort of a range-bound day. Yeah, you could have took this long from here, but that's really just not a high probability trade to me. You could have made a little bit on it. Just because price moves doesn't mean it's a setup. And that's something that I heard pretty recently. I think it was like Rake Trades or somebody that I saw on Instagram. He's like, yeah, great, price moved, but was it a trade? Price moving and taking a trade are two different things. So I don't have a trade on this. Yes, price moved through this price point and has moved up. You could have made money to the high side. Was it a setup? Was it a trade? For me, no, it wasn't, right? The risk to reward is not there for me on that type of move. It's not high probability for me. I still saw that there was downside to the low. This could easily been stop out, run, continue down onto the overnight low to the previous close. We're too close to this level for me to think that that's the setup. Now this seems a bit more of a setup, right? You got that all of the confluences at a key level to get yourself a rotation to the other end of the level. Now you're just chopping around the middle. It's kind of what it did over here. Chop, 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 chop. It may just slowly grind all the way back up, but to me, that's not a trade. That's just price movement on its own merit. This is a trade. This is a setup. The trade went. The trade did what it did. Here, if this trade would have failed, at least there was a setup. At least there was a set risk management strategy in place. And if it would have rotated the other end, there was a trade, but it was just to the long side and not to the short side, right? Or it invalidated itself. It didn't get... It wasn't just like a random pop in the middle. You can start to see prices now speeding up a bit. It's getting whippy. Not sure what. Maybe there was some sort of movement off of that bill auction. 5.28, same exact off that 42-day build auction. Don't think that really had any effect on it, but I might make that darker for you. Let's see. Just because that's light on top now. Because normally it's dark. I'll leave it up there like that because it's when it's dark, it's easier to see. If I end up... Let me see. Is there a... Yeah, I'm not... No opacity. We're just going straight dark. Now you can see it. That's better. Sweet. Sweet. Alrighty. While I'm not executing or taking any trades or doing anything at the moment, I want to kind of go over a little bit of how I do. I'm going to start doing lessons, I think. I mean, as far as I would love to be able to do lessons midday. I do work. I have a job. I do. You could guess it by my name of my account and the picture at the top of the screen. But I would like to start doing like a lesson here and there, maybe once or twice a week, if not every day, on just kind of what I'm looking at, a quick little breakdown on how I price certain things in, how I use fundamentals, and I use price levels to kind of make educated decisions within the marketplace. Money management strategies, all the above, anything that's really gonna help you just elevate whatever you're doing on a day-to-day basis, right? So for me, I'm just looking to, as an intraday trader, right, a quick little breakdown on what I'm thinking as far as just, some people are like, oh, it's all price action, oh, it's all fundamentals. There are people who trade with no charts and just purely based on news and price information, and I don't know how the hell they do it, but they do it. That's possible. I don't think I have it in here. Damn. Kind of got rid of it. I tend to clean up my charts as well. So that's another issue lately. Because I stopped doing what I'm about to tell you because I do it in my head and I don't really care too much about writing it down. But what I usually like to do is I'll go onto my trading view chart, right? And on a daily basis or a 30-minute, whatever I see, let's say we were trading this back in the day. I was trading, let's say COVID, right? We'll go to 2020, December of 23. Let's find the COVID lows. 2019, there's the COVID dip, right? I would do something like this. I would take this, I would price it in, and I would draw a box around it, and I would say, okay, why did this move happen here, right? This move happened here because COVID-19 and lockdowns, right? That's the reason why this price did what it did. So I would put this in here, price it into my chart. If you can't remember why certain things happened at what point, obviously when you're looking at this chart over the period, like, man, what caused this, or what caused that, or why were we at this level when this happened, or why were we at that level? So I'm going to get back into the habit of doing this, right? This is COVID-19 and lockdowns. You get this big dump. Why did we make a V bottom? Oh, well, we made a V bottom because the Federal Reserve and the U.S. government gave away money, printed money, and gave stipends. Like almost like a UBI. I gave it to the people, right? And they cut rates to zero. So we have 0% interest rates, printing money. We cut here, and they also started other things such as buying into the stock market. The Fed just has the ability to do whatever it wants. So it just buoyed this economy, broke through these highs, and then now we are just absolutely launch pad from that level, right? From there, they're printing money. Why do we pull back? Interest rate cut decisions, talking about all that stuff. You could start pricing in that. Okay, now we get to here. Oh, it's Russia, Ukraine. It's Israel, Palestine. Global economic influences within the equity market are actually pretty important, right? On a day-to-day basis, intraday, does it really affect price? Not too much, right? So as intraday traders, I'm looking at those key data points and where the price was and where it is in relevance to those data points. But I'm not, trading that information specifically. I'm just pricing it in to understand, okay, maybe if it moved this way because of this half, and then last time it did this because they did that, then what would happen if they do that again at this price point, right? So that's really how I use fundamental data. I price it into what I'm doing currently, and then I use that. I go all the way into, pricing in levels, and I can show you how to do that on lesson. So today was pretty much just like a quick little talk about, I do price in fundamental data long term. I use those levels and I draw up key levels at key zones, and I trade off of those levels intraday. Once we get to those areas, then I start to look for setups, price action, order flow, and all that. And that's how you're able to pair both price action and fundamental trading and use both, and stay away from the getting into a camp and being like, this is the right way, this is the only way. Find out what works for you. Price in things, learn how to read data. You don't need to know what any of this means, right? Just know that if durable goods are actually going up, right? The orders are going up. That means people are buying more things. There's more things being ordered. So that means economic strength is still pretty strong, right? That's what you got to kind of price it in that manner, right? You don't need to know who is doing the Richmond Fed manufacturing. You don't need to know who the CB confused. Just bring it down to basic levels. Say consumer confidence. If this number is higher than this number, or if this number is lower than this number, then potentially what happens when those numbers are higher or lower, right? There's a reason why this is important. There's a reason why somebody made this website, Trading Economics, because this is what goes into price action. This is what goes into people buying stocks. This is what happens, why the stock market does what it does. And it's all gathering of of as much information as you possibly can, and then just executing on the chart on a day-to-day basis, and avoid trying to be Michael Berry or Warren Buffett or anybody like, you want to hold and you want the markets to go up forever. You're Warren Buffett. If you think the market's going to die and crash and you're going to just be the next big short and just continue to sell and sell and sell on an intraday basis, you're going to get yourself in trouble. That's what I'm doing here. I'm trading as a day trader, especially with the prop firms and the Top Steps and all that. Most of the time you can't hold overnight, right? So if you got to be flat by the end of the day, you're a day trader. At best, you're swing the open to close, but really that's the longest you're holding a trade. So you can't marry your bias intraday. Use that bias for your long-term outlook to give you guidance on levels and what is more likely to happen at those levels when price gets there and the timing of the price being there. It's all about timing, price, location, and risk management. And then just using as much information as you can without information overload is what works best for me. I mean, some people need tons of data, some people need no data. It's just kind of in between, and you got to kind of find your niche. And most people say, don't jump strategy to strategy to strategy to strategy. Just figure out what works for you and then just go from there. It's really like most people are saying, it's coin flips, and you could be right if you just trade moon phases. There's no right, perfect strategy, but as long as you can define a little bit of an edge and maintain a proper risk management, you'll be fine. And I struggle with it all the time. I'm just like everybody else. I can't say that I'm even at a level where I want to be or where I think I should be. But as long as you can recognize what you need to do and you start implementing one rule or one thing a day or one thing. So for me, implementing just hitting this lockout button is already something that's going to help me. I'm going to not try to get to that next $100, $200, right? If I hit that drawdown point prior to that $1,000, hit the lockout, just don't trade. If you hit up close to your profit target, you can only make $1,500 a day in a combine setting because you can't make more than 50% of your profits in a day. Get to that profit target and hit the cutoff. Or if you just executed a trade like we just executed, right? I took that really great trade from high to low here. We basically just missed our full take profit by 2 ticks, and we stopped out just above it, right? Don't trade anymore after that. Why would you need to? What are you going to gain out of this? If you traded, there's not much else that you could do other than give money back, right? By talking through what we just did and getting into why I'm not trading this, it's already helped me avoid bad trades, right? I don't like to trade around VWAP. I think there's a lot of manipulation around there. I think that there's just chop here. There's no clear direction, no real reason to go one way or the other. And price just wants to stay here. There's trades being facilitated. Price is just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. There's not much that I want to do at this area. Does somebody have a strategy that works around here? Maybe. But for me, that's not what I want to do. So at the end of the day, I want to use that ability to make that one good trade. There's not much more you could do than that in a day-to-day basis. Per contract, what job, if you could get one good trade and make $1,000 a day, you're making $250,000 a year, I think you'll be okay, right? And then you could scale up or down from there. But you're not going to catch this every time. And I might have went over 3 and hit my lockout of 700 and change. And then I have to be done. Click that manual lockout button and I'll be out and less mad at myself because you didn't lock out. You didn't actually hit your max drawdown. You didn't do certain things that would have gotten you into some trouble had you not just walked away, right? That's the biggest thing I could take away is my problem is not walking away when it's the right time to walk away. And if there's some sort of tool that I can implement that will help me, like that lockout button in the Top Step right here, then I'm very interested. So right now I'm starting to get interested in this. I like this because it's a higher low. It's holding above this previous low, this opening range low right here above 850. We did come into that 31.75, so there was a reason why it did bounce from here, because it is an important level to bounce off of. Now if we rotate back up and through up into that 600 level, now we're interested in more of, is this going to be a long as opposed to fading the short? But you need to see something different than what we saw there for you to be confirmed that, hey, okay, that's a long. If you're interested in some setup like this, if you're a VWAP trader and you think, hey, maybe I can go long from VWAP and get good risk to reward, this may be the type of area where you're interested in that. But I don't have that strategy, right? This has been chopped for me. This is just interesting where I'm just talking it through, where I see certain things happening with price speeding up, stronger looking candles, more confluence in it. Tilt is still only 50% long. You are getting a good delta push. You haven't quite made it to this high of delta yet, but you also haven't made it to that high in price. So if you get to that high level in price and delta doesn't pop its head up, then maybe this may start to rotate back down. But it looks like it's confluence. So just the slow grind back up to the high side still seems possible for me to, see it back to that price where we shorted from before, and then be interested in potentially shorting it again. For me, 8:30 to 11, even today, I'm going to be done in 7 minutes. So there's not going to be a trade for me the rest of the day. I'm going to be satisfied with that $1,113 on the one account. If we can't get a trade on this account, so be it. I'm looking to get funded at least one of these 3 accounts, but I'm taking them separately. I'm not trade copying because I've gotten myself into trouble with the trade copier. And I really just want to start to manage, even in the combine setting, manage my risk across the accounts as opposed to combining all the accounts together and making the risk kind of a little bit, really you're not maximizing the ability to minimize your drawdown if you're just copying everything and you're just drawing down on all the accounts. So I think come 11 o'clock, we will shut this thing down. Really great day. I'm really happy with everything. I'm glad that everybody came by, stuck around. We got up to 10 guys there. It was nice. We're going to continue to grow every day. Tomorrow, back on, same time, same place, 8:30 till 11. Looking forward to tomorrow. We do have... tomorrow is Wednesday. We don't have anything but crude oil inventories, which is not really going to affect us much. You do have... mortgage rates, but that's not going to really affect us either. Thursday, we have GDP growth quarter over quarter and initial jobless claims. So those are going to be information that we need. And Friday, we do not trade. Markets are closed in observance of Easter. Good Friday. So nothing to do there, but just hang out and enjoy your family. So, or go to work like me. Either way, like I said, tomorrow might be another kind of it might be directional because there's not much telling us to switch direction midday. Like today, we kind of had the durable goods and the consumer confidence that manipulated it a little bit. And then you got this auction that happened that kind of had a little bit of movement, but nothing really of note. So I would just be mindful of that tomorrow, and we will reconvene. If you could see Deck dropping lines in all the chats, giving away great information, great training. One day we'll get to that level where we're, constantly pumping out content. But until then, we got to work a day job, try and run a coffee company, and stream every day, and just try to provide as much value as I can during the time that I'm on here, right? If anybody has questions, comments, concerns, looking at a setup, looking at a different asset or something that wants to get analyzed, I will do that until we get off of here. So you can see this back to 2. There's that 5 minute. And then we're going to look at the NVIDIA. I'm going to check out some of these other ones. NVIDIA's rotating back downside. Apple just bull flagging. Microsoft looking to break out a little bit. Kind of like that move. If it does crack above 425, then I think high day may come in. Could also rotate up to 427, but I don't know if that's going to happen today. AMD also pushing up higher. SMCI rotating. MSTR, SOXL. So the SOXLs are, it's a little bit down the chip sector. Yeah, it's still holding that support level there. Amazon holding below 180, wicked above, and then now is holding below. NVIDIA has been my leader, so I kind of just watch NVIDIA most of the time. My rules also state that I can't take any trades within 5 minutes of that hourly close. So, nothing doing here. Nothing but sitting on my hands until the stream ends. Like I said, I appreciate everybody always coming by. Don't be afraid to check out daytradingcoffeecompany.com, daytradingcoffeeco.com. I will post the link in here. If you use my username policingpips, you'll get 15% off. And like I said, 10% of all sales go to, we'll try our best to do a funding fund as we become profitable as a company, start to give away combines, start to give away cash accounts, partner with brokerages, do all that fun stuff. So stay tuned for all the cool additions to that company and to the stream and everything. So if anybody's got anything else, I will be done for the day. I appreciate everybody stopping by. Like I said, always, even if you spend 1 minute in here, it's 1 minute of your time that you could have spent somewhere else. So I'm really appreciative of everything. Until tomorrow, 8:30 a.m., I will be here. And we're going to look to see if we can at least get one of these funded. Because as of today, I don't think I could possibly pass the other one unless I make a couple bucks later on towards the close. But overall, let's see if we could get that one combine passed tomorrow, and then we'll get the rest of them passed next week, and we'll go and enter April as fully funded and ready to kind of make some really good money out here and start to take some withdrawals, being a little bit aggressive on the funded accounts and just taking it just how we have today, the same way we've always taken them. So until then, like I said, up $1,113.80 on the day. Took 3 trades. We went 1 for 3. So that shows you the power of risk management, right? And just allowing your winner to play out for yourself. So, like I said, until tomorrow, I'll talk to you all later.